Okay, so I am showing you the way I taught you guys when it came to converting from degrees to radians or from radians to degrees, just because the way that Miss Menard showed it in her video is different, and so I want to make sure you guys get it the same way I taught you. All right, so remember that when you're converting from radians to degrees, you got to remember that pi is equal to 180 degrees when it comes to going from radians to degrees, right? Now, if I'm going to go from degrees to radians like you see here, we're going to multiply pi over 180. And if we go the opposite way, we go from radians to degrees, then we just flip that ratio and we multiply that radian angle by 180 over pi, and then we usually end up having to reduce or something like that in order to get our final answer here. Okay, so here we're going to multiply pi over 180. Okay, so that in the numerator I'll have 80 over 180. And now here I just want to reduce. First thing I'm going to reduce by is let's start with 20. Okay, so divide these both by 20. Here I get 4. If I divide 20 into that, we're going to get 9. Okay, so we get 4 pi over 9. And there's nothing else I can divide by there. So the radians at 80 degrees is 4 over 9 pi in radians. Okay, and also just remember too, it does say all answers should be simplified to be positive, right? So you can see these last two are negative, so we're going to make sure that those are positive before we finish here. All right, so here now, since it's starting in radians, I want to start by I want to flip that ratio. So I'm going to multiply 180 over pi here. Remember that since I have pi here in the numerator and in the denominator, those cancel, kind of just like rational equations or expressions. All right, so now I'm going to multiply 7 times 180 and divide by 4. Now you can plug this into Desmos if you want to do this by hand. You can start by doing a 180 divided by 4 first. So if I divide that by 4, that's going to be, let's see, 25 plus 20, so that'd be 45. So 180 divided by 4 is 45. So now it becomes 7 times 45. Okay, then 7 times 45, but we can do 7 times 40, which is 280. And then 7 times 5 is 35. Add those together, we get 315 degrees. Okay, so that's that one. And honestly, if you think about it, you could actually go to the unit circle and find that 7 quarters over 7 pi over 4 right down here on your unit circle. Okay, but when you do convert from degrees to radians, I do want to see the work, so make sure you guys are showing that on here. Now, this one is negative. It's a negative radians. So we want to convert this back to a positive first before you guys convert it. Okay, so we want to make sure it's a positive. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to add or find a coterminal angle. Now, if I add 2 pi to this, I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys remember this one, it won't give me a positive angle. So I'm going to have to add more than 2 pi. And so, just for instance, if I'm going to add, by the way, 2 pi, I need to have this a common denominator. So over here, I'm actually going to do some quick conversions and just to make sure that I have enough. Because basically the number on the top, after I convert this into a common denominator, needs to be bigger than 16. Or it either needs to be equal to 16 or bigger than 16. So if I do the common denominator of 3 here, you can see that the top is only going to be 6. So I have to think, okay, what am I going to have to end up multiplying here in order to get this to be bigger than 6? Well, it's going to have to be a lot more, right? So I need to think, okay, 3 times what will give me a number bigger than 6? Well, remember, this has to be either 2 pi or 4 pi or 6 pi, because, right, it has to be an even number. So 3 times, let's see, 5, or sorry, not 5 pi. It has to be an even number, not an odd number. Let's say 3 times 4 would be 12. That wouldn't be enough. 3 times 6, that'd be 18. So that'll work. So if I do, basically what I'm saying is do 6 pi, which is again a multiple of 2 pi. That'll give me 18. All right, so what I'm going to do here then is I'll convert that into 18 pi over 3, and now I'll add it. Okay, so basically what I'm telling you guys is you need to figure out how many 2 pi's do you need to add to get this to be a positive, because 1 isn't enough. 4 isn't going to be enough, because if you think about it, if I multiply times 3 here, that would be 12 pi over 3. That's not enough to make this positive. All right, so now I add these together. Remember that when we add fractions, we only add the numerator. So negative 16 plus 18 will be 2 pi over 3. All right, now it's time to convert it back into degrees. Okay, so now, just like this one, I'm going to do the ratio of 180 over pi. Cancel that. Okay, so now I have 2 times 180 over 3. I can kind of do this however I want. I can do 2 times 180, or I can divide first. So I'll divide first. So 180 divided by 3 is going to be 60. And then 2 times 60. Actually, I don't need this line anymore. So I just divided out that 3. And then 2 times 60 is 120. So 120 degrees. All right, so now I need to take the same approach here. The nice thing about this one is I don't have to deal with common denominators because it's just a whole number degree. So here I'm going to have to add 360 instead of 2 pi. But notice, if I add 360, that's not enough, right? That's still going to give me a negative. So I'm going to add 360 one more time. Okay, because 360 plus 360 is 720, and that's bigger than 510, so that should be enough. All right, so plus 720, that's going to be 210 degrees. So 210 degrees. All right, so the only issue here, oh wait, actually, is that 720? No, that's not right. Let me do this on Desmos. That just doesn't feel right. Let me just double check it. Okay, so negative 510 plus 360. Oh, I guess it was right. Okay. All right, so just wanted to be sure. You guys should do the same when you're working on these. All right, so now I'm going to multiply that ratio of pi over 180 this time. Remember, basically, if you're going to radians, make sure the pi is on top. If you're going to degrees, make sure the pi is on the bottom. All right, so now we have 210 over 180. And usually when you go to radians, you're going to have to reduce it. I can see that 3 goes into 21 and 18, so let's do 30. So divide 21 by 3, that gives me 7. Or I'm basically dividing these both by 30. So 7 pi. And then divide this by 3, I'm going to get 6. Or 30, it's going to get 6. And you can see that's pretty much as much as all I can do to reduce it. So I get 7 pi over 6. Okay? All right, the rest you're going to see in Miss Menard's video. So click on the next Edpuzzle that's listed here so you can see how to do the rest.